Okay, so we're on to part 2 of phonetics and phonology. So we're talking phonetics, which is how we make sounds, and then phonology, how we use these sounds to make the building blocks of language. Alrighty, just to recap what we talked about on the first presentation, to study sounds we need some way to record them on paper. But our everyday writing system is not great at this because our everyday writing system in English is inconsistent with regard to which letters make which sounds, because we have 44 phonemes but only 26 letters to write them with. Therefore, we need some kind of consistent system if you're a linguist. And the system they use is the International Phonetic Alphabet. They use this for studying all the languages that humans use worldwide. In the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet, one symbol makes one sound consistently. And as I said, every language worldwide, there is an IPA symbol for basically every sound that a human can make in language. It's been actually, over the years, they've actually added extra things and they've edited it slightly because sometimes they realise, no, there's another sound here that's some random language that no one had actually tried to study before was using and things like that. So it has been updated as well. Now, as I said as well, people who learn English as a foreign language often use it, and you can use it on a broad level where you're just sort of generally describing the sounds, or a really narrow level when you're being extremely specific with how you're describing the sounds. Now, how do we examine all of these sounds and phonemes? Basically, you've got to look at two things, or kind of three things. The two big ones, though, is how do you make the sound? Like, what are you doing in your mouth to make this sound? And then secondly, where do you make the sound? Which part of your mouth or your throat is making this sound? Now, as I said, Australian English has 44 phonemes, and these are basically in two groups. You've got 24 consonants, and you've got 20 vowels. And the vowels you can break up into two groups called monophthongs and diphthongs. What's all this vocab mean? All right. Starting with consonants. Basically, from the front of your mouth all the way back to your throat, you've got different points that you can use your tongue to do something to the airflow, either stop it or make it like turbulent, have a hissing noise and stuff. And that will change how it sounds. So we've got this map here showing all of the consonants you can make in English from the front of your mouth to the back of your mouth. Now, when we talk about those locations, the technical term you'd use is place of articulation, where you make the sound. So starting at the front, bilabial, which means two lips, like m and b and p, or a labiodental consonant, which uses your lips and your teeth, like f or v. Then interdental, which means between your teeth, like or th, like that or there or thin, those sounds between your teeth. Alveolar is the bony ridge that's behind your teeth at the top. So these are sounds like t and d that you feel up there when you say t t t. You can feel that bone, the front of your tongue is tapping behind your teeth. And then post-alveolar, which just means behind the alveolar ridge, behind those bony bits. And this is like sh, and sounds that are a little bit further back. Palatal is on the hard palate at the roof of your mouth. We don't have too many of these in English, but you have something like yeah, the palate being the hard case there. We'll talk about the palate, though. We do make some sounds there that might not always be a phoneme. And then you've got velar, which is the soft palate at the back of your mouth, and that's where you make sounds like k and g and stuff. So when you say k, feel how the back of your tongue went up and hit the back of the roof of your mouth there, up towards the soft palate. And then after that, you've got glottal consonants. Glottal just means in your throat. Basically, that's h, the letter H, the h sound. It's also the if you say a word like, if you're from London, for example, and you say bottle or water instead of bottle and water, that sound, that uh-oh, that stopping sound is actually a glottal stop. It's the air being stopped in your throat. And then the other thing you can look at, you've got all the places, and then you work out the manner of articulation, how you make the sound. First way is nasal. Sound comes out your nose, like All of them, you're blocking the air and you're using the vibration through your nose to make that sound. And then you've got plosives, which is when you block the air, like b and p and t and d. So the sound's coming out your mouth, but you are blocking the airstream somewhere in your mouth to make that sound. So p, t, k, b, d, g, all those sounds. You actually stop the sound, stop the airstream. Then you've got fricatives, which is when you make the airstream turbulent and you get these whistling, airy sounds like and all of that, like s and f and zh and all of those. You get this hissing, windy or like vibrating sound. And then you've got affricates, which start as a stop and end as a fricative. They're actually two sounds joined together to make one phoneme. For example, ch is a combination of t and sh. You say t, sh, put them together, ch. So that's called an affricate. The other way to think of it is you block the airstream and then release it. So it starts as a stop, starts as a plosive, finishes as a fricative. So it's an affricate. J and ch are the two that we use in English. An approximant, you restrict the airstream, but not enough to make it sort of whistle or hiss like a fricative. It's something like l and and y and things like that, and w, all of those sounds. They often sound kind of wet in my head, like liquid kind of sounds. Now, so you've got the place of articulation, where you make the sound. You've got the manner of articulation, how you make the sound. You can also talk about with consonants, are they voiced, which is you turn your vocal cords on when you say it, or are they unvoiced, which is you've got your vocal cords off. For example, a voiced consonant is b and d, or g, and then an unvoiced consonant would be p or t or k. So you can hear the differences. So b and p, they're both made with your lips. They're both bilabial consonants, two lips together. But b is voiced and p is unvoiced. So you can hear the difference. You may have never realized, but that's what it is. Now, that's how your consonants work. Then you've got this set called vowels. The vowels, you basically just let the air through your mouth without doing anything to it. No obstruction. And what you do is you change the shape of your mouth, the shape of the cavity, to change the sound. And you can do this with your tongue and your lips, basically. So how far forward, how far back your tongue is, up, down, and then whether your lips are like ah, open, or ooh, closed, and things like that, you change the sound. But you don't actually do anything to the airflow. You're not restricting the airflow or anything. Now, with the vowels, it's kind of hard to draw a map. With the consonants, it's easy. You can say, okay, lips, teeth, palate, etc. With the vowels, it's a little bit tricky. They can draw a map of all of the sounds that you can possibly make in your mouth by drawing where the tongue is and whether the lips are open or sort of making a round circle shape. So at the front, try this out for me. You can see the very front, you've got the I, and then down the very bottom at the front, you've got ah. So let's go from the top to the bottom, go E-ah, 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 and you can see that your tongue went down for the ah, and an E up for the E. So that's why dentists, when they look in your mouth, they say ah, because ah is your tongue all the way down and your mouth all the way open. And then going from the front to the back, you might feel how your tongue changes when you go ee-oo, ee-oo, ee-oo. Felt your tongue go back to say oo, and go forward to say e. Also, the map here, what they've done is on the left, they've got things that your mouth is open, and on the right of each pair, they've got things that your mouth is rounded. Because when you say oo, see how your lips are like rounded, but e, your lips are open. And then you can change the sound just doing that without moving your tongue. You go ee, just using your lips. Okay, vowel phonemes in English can go in two groups. You've got monophthongs, which is mono means one and phthong means sound. It's one of the words for sound in Greek. So a monophthong is basically a single vowel, a single pure vowel acting as a phoneme on its own. Then you've also got diphthongs, which is when you've got two vowels joined together. I'll give you an example of each of them. So you've got on the left, you've got ka, which for us is just a nice clear monophthong. It's one ah. But cow has two vowels joined together. So that's a diphthong. Cow. Okay, enough of me making funny noises. You can go back to your IPA chart and make some more funny noises yourself and see if you can transcribe some more of these words.